Ghost in the void. The UES Defiance hung motionless against the backdrop of stars, its dark hull absorbing what little light reached this remote corner of the Orion Arm. To any observer, it appeared to be just another piece of space debris, perhaps the remains of some long-forgotten battle or a derelict mining vessel. This was precisely what Captain Ilara Chen wanted them to see. "Status report," Chen whispered, her voice barely audible in the dimly lit bridge. The command center operated on minimal power, emergency lighting casting everything in a red glow that made the crew's faces look like masks of shadow. "All systems nominal, Captain," Lieutenant Commander Marcus Rivera responded from the tactical station. "Phantom protocol at 97% efficiency. To external sensors, we're still reading as space debris." Chen nodded, a strand of her close-cropped black hair falling across her forehead. The 37-year-old captain had been commanding the Defiance for 3 years now, ever since Earth's government decided that conventional warfare against the Arcturus Coalition was a losing proposition. The Coalition, a loose alliance of 7 advanced alien species, had technological advantages in almost every area, except one. "Proximity alert," called out Lieutenant Kara Okafor from the sensor array. "Coalition patrol vessel, Huntress class. Range, 15 million kilometers, and closing. Maintain Phantom protocol," Chen ordered. "No one moves unless I give the command." Throughout the ship, 120 crew members remained at their stations, barely breathing. Unlike other ships in Earth's fleet, the Defiance wasn't built for head-on engagements. It was a ghost, humanity's secret weapon in a war they were losing badly. "Coalition vessel is scanning the sector," Okafor reported, her fingers dancing across the holographic interface. "Standard sweep pattern. Estimate 3 minutes until we're in their direct scan path." Chen turned to her executive officer. "Commander Takeda, are we recording their scan frequencies?" "Every bandwidth, Captain," Takeda replied. The middle-aged Japanese officer had been with Chen since the Defiance's maiden voyage. "Intelligence will be pleased with this haul." The bridge fell silent as the minutes ticked by. The Coalition patrol continued its methodical search pattern, unaware that it was being studied just as intently as it was studying the seemingly empty space. "They're adjusting course," Okafor announced suddenly. "They're heading directly toward us. Range, 10 million kilometers." "Did they spot us?" Chen asked, her voice remaining calm despite the sudden tension. Rivera shook his head. "Phantom protocol is holding steady. They shouldn't be able to distinguish us from background radiation." "Then why the course change?" Chen's eyes narrowed. "Unknown, Captain, but they've increased speed. New ETA, 12 minutes. Chen considered their options. The Defiance could outrun the patrol ship, but that would reveal their position. They could maintain the disguise and hope the Coalition vessel passed them by. Or they could strike first. Tactical assessment, Commander Rivera. Huntress-class vessels carry minimal armament. Standard crew of 40. No match for us in direct combat, but they could call for reinforcements. Chen made her decision. Maintain Phantom protocol. Let them get closer. "Captain," Takeda questioned. "If they've detected us, they're being cautious. If they haven't, we'll learn more by letting them approach. Either way, we gain valuable intelligence." The bridge crew returned to their silent vigil. On the main view screen, the Coalition vessel grew from a distant point of light to a recognizable silhouette. The Huntress-class patrol ship resembled a manta ray, with sweeping wings and a tapering body that glowed with the blue-green bioluminescence characteristic of Iridian technology. 5 million kilometers, Okafor updated. "They're still on an intercept course." "They're scanning more intensively," Rivera added. "Focused pattern now." Chen felt the first stirrings of concern. Phantom protocol status. Holding at 96%, but their scans are becoming more precise. They're looking for something specific. That was troubling. The Defiance's Phantom protocol wasn't just a cloaking device. It was a revolutionary system that allowed the ship to mimic any signature or appear as empty space. It had taken Earth's best scientists a decade to perfect, combining reverse-engineered alien technology with human ingenuity. It was their one advantage in this war. 3 million kilometers, Okafor announced. Captain, they're deploying sensor drones. They know we're here, Chen concluded. Phantom protocol effectiveness against sensor drones. Rivera shook his head. 50% at best. The drones use quantum entanglement detection. They'll find us. Chen nodded. Decision made. Battle stations. Power up all systems. Prepare to engage. Throughout the ship, the emergency lighting shifted from red to blue as crew members sprang into action. The Defiance awakened, its systems coming online in a carefully orchestrated sequence. Weapons powered up silently, shields hummed to life, and engines prepared for sudden acceleration. Target their communication array first, Chen ordered. Then engines. I want that ship disabled, not destroyed. Aye, Captain, Rivera acknowledged, programming the targeting solutions. On the view screen, the Coalition vessel suddenly changed course, accelerating away. They've spotted us, Okafor confirmed. They're transmitting a distress call. Jam it, Chen commanded. Too late, Rivera reported grimly. Message sent. Chen's expression hardened. How many received it? Unknown, but I'm detecting multiple ships changing course toward our position. Nearest response time, 17 minutes. Then we have 16 minutes to complete our mission, Chen replied. Engage Phantom Protocol Shift Pattern Beta. Let's show them our true face. The Defiance's external appearance began to change, its hull seeming to ripple like water. The Coalition patrol ship was now trying to escape at maximum speed, but it was already too late. Firing solution ready, Captain, Rivera announced. Fire. The Defiance's laser batteries fired in perfect sequence, precisely targeting the Coalition vessel's communication array. The beams sliced through the alien ship's defenses like they were tissue paper, leaving the communications hub a molten ruin. Target engines, Chen ordered. Another volley of lasers disabled the Coalition ship's propulsion system. It drifted helplessly in space, emergency systems flickering across its hull. Open a channel, Chen commanded. Channel open, Takeda confirmed. Chen stood, adjusting her uniform. Coalition vessel, this is Captain Ilara Chen of the United Earth Ship Defiance. Your ship is disabled. Prepare to be boarded. The alien captain's response came immediately, the translator converting the high-pitched Iridian language to English. This is Scout Captain Zinfar. What are your terms, human? Your data cores and navigation records. In exchange, your crew will be unharmed and provided with escape pods once we've completed our extraction. There was a pause before the alien responded. You realize the Coalition will hunt you to the ends of the galaxy for this. Chen allowed herself a small smile. They've been trying for 3 years, Captain Zinfar. We're still here. She signaled for the communication to be cut and turned to her crew. Boarding teams, prepare for extraction. Intelligence prioritizes their patrol data and any communications regarding Coalition fleet movements near Earth's colonies. As her crew moved to execute her orders, Shen studied the disabled alien vessel on the screen. This was a calculated risk, but one worth taking. The Defiance's mission wasn't just to harass Coalition forces, it was to gather intelligence that might turn the tide of a war humanity was losing. Captain, Takeda approached her quietly. Intelligence indicates this patrol ship might have data on Project Helios. Chen's expression darkened. Project Helios, the Coalition's rumored superweapon capable of destabilizing a star's core. If such a weapon existed and was deployed against Sol, humanity would cease to exist. Make that our primary extraction objective, she ordered, and accelerate our timeline. I want us gone in 10 minutes, not 16. The boarding teams departed in armored shuttles, their specialized equipment designed for quick extraction of data cores and computer systems. Chen watched as they attached to the Coalition vessel's hull, cutting through using advanced breaching tools. Multiple Coalition vessels have changed course, Rivera warned. Fastest intercept now 13 minutes. Chen nodded. Keep me updated. How's our extraction team progressing? They've breached the hull and are encountering minimal resistance, Rivera reported. Estimated completion time: 7 minutes. Those were the longest 7 minutes of Chen's career. She paced the bridge, checking and rechecking the sensor readings as Coalition reinforcements drew closer. The boarding team provided regular updates. The Coalition crew had surrendered without a fight, recognizing the futility of resistance. Extraction complete, Rivera finally announced. Teams returning with the data cores, and 3 prisoners, the captain and 2 senior officers. Prisoners? Chen questioned sharply. That wasn't part of the plan. They requested asylum, Captain, Rivera explained. They claim to have critical information about Project Helios that isn't in their computer systems. Chen frowned. This complicated matters, but potentially offered a valuable opportunity: security protocols for the defectors. I want them in separate holding cells and thoroughly scanned for tracking devices. Yes, Captain. Boarding team secure. All hatches sealed. Takeda reported. Coalition reinforcements, 11 minutes out. Chen nodded decisively. Prepare the escape pods for the remaining Coalition crew as promised. Set course for the Calypso Nebula. Maximum speed once the pods are away. As the Defiance prepared to depart, Chen addressed the captured Coalition captain one final time. The escape pods have been programmed to emit distress beacons once we're clear of the system. Your crew will be rescued. The Iridian captain's multifaceted eyes reflected the bridge lights. You keep your word, human. This is unexpected. We're not the monsters your propaganda makes us out to be, Captain Zinthar, Chen replied. Perhaps not, the alien conceded. But after what my defecting officers will tell you about Project Helios, you may wish you were. As the Defiance disappeared into the depths of space, its phantom protocol once again masking its presence, Captain Chen couldn't shake the feeling that they had just crossed a threshold. Whatever information they had obtained, it would change the course of this war, for better or worse. The ship accelerated to faster than light speed, leaving behind only empty pods filled with confused Coalition crew members and a disabled patrol vessel. By the time the reinforcements arrived, the Defiance would be long gone, a ghost that continued to haunt the Coalition's worst nightmares. The hunter becomes the hunted. Admiral Voxelar slammed his fist against the holographic display, causing the image to flicker. The Drenthari Admiral's gray skin flushed purple with rage, a sign his subordinates had learned to fear. Explain to me, he growled, each word precisely enunciated through his translator, how a single human vessel continues to evade the most powerful fleet in 3 sectors. The assembled Coalition officers shifted uncomfortably. None wanted to be the first to speak. The UES Defiance has struck 7 of our installations in the past month, Voxelar continued, his 4 eyes narrowing to slits. They've stolen critical data, disabled our ships, and now they've taken defectors. This ends now. Fleet Commander Cal Schur, a tall Iridian with iridescent skin, finally spoke. Admiral, the human vessel possesses technology we haven't been able to counter effectively. Their Phantom Protocol is just advanced cloaking technology, Voxelar interrupted. Nothing more. With respect, Admiral, it's significantly more sophisticated, Cal Schur insisted. According to our analysts, they can not only hide their signature but mimic other vessels, or even natural phenomena. Our sensors literally cannot distinguish them from their surroundings unless they choose to be seen. Voxelar's expression darkened further. And the defectors? What intelligence have we gathered about their intentions? The defectors included science officers in Vex, who had access to Project Helios documentation. Another officer reported hesitantly. They likely know about the project now. A heavy silence fell over the command center. Project Helios was the Coalition's greatest secret, a stellar manipulation device capable of accelerating a star's life cycle. It had been developed as the ultimate deterrent, but its potential as a weapon was undeniable. Then we have no choice, Voxeler decided. Deploy the Nexus network. I want every sensor platform in Coalition space linked and recalibrated to detect quantum fluctuations. The Defiance may be able to fool our conventional sensors, but they can't hide the fundamental distortions their technology creates. That will take significant resources, Admiral Kalshur warned. And it's never been attempted on this scale. I don't care what it takes, Voxeler snapped. That ship has made fools of us for too long. Find it, disable it, and bring me its captain in chains. As his subordinates rushed to comply, Voxeler turned to study the last known trajectory of the Defiance. This had become personal. 3 years ago, the human ship had destroyed his flagship during the Battle of Proxima Centauri, leaving him scared and diminished in the eyes of the Coalition leadership. His obsession with capturing the vessel had grown with each successful raid. "I will find you, Captain Chen," he whispered to the stars. "And when I do, you'll wish you had never defied the Coalition." Meanwhile, aboard the UES Defiance, Captain Chen reviewed the data extracted from the Coalition patrol ship. What she found confirmed her worst fears. Project Helios is real, she told her assembled senior officers in the ship's secure briefing room. According to these files, the Coalition has built a device capable of destabilizing a star's fusion reactions, causing it to nova prematurely. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. That would mean millions of deaths if deployed against any inhabited system, Commander Takeda said finally. Billions if they target Earth. That's exactly their plan, Chen confirmed grimly. The Coalition leadership has authorized deployment against the Wolf 359 colony as a demonstration of force. Once they've proven the weapon works, they intend to threaten Earth directly. When? Rivera asked quietly. 3 weeks from now, Chen replied. They're finalizing preparations at a research station in the Hephaestus Nebula. Dr. Eliza Novak, the ship's chief science officer, studied the technical specifications on her tablet. This technology shouldn't be possible with their current level of development. Something's not adding up. That's where our defectors come in. Chen nodded toward the door as 2 security officers escorted in a slender Iridian with blue-green skin. This is Science Officer Zinvex. Chen introduced the alien. He's agreed to provide us with everything he knows about Project Helios in exchange for asylum. The Iridian's multifaceted eyes swept across the assembled humans. Your species faces extinction if Project Helios is deployed, he said without preamble. I could not be part of such genocide. Admirable, Rivera commented skeptically. But why should we trust you? Because I helped design it, Zinvex replied simply. And because the weapon isn't just a threat to humans. Once deployed, the technology can be used against any star system. My own homeworld would eventually be at risk from political rivals within the Coalition. Dr. Novak leaned forward. You said you helped design it. What exactly is your specialty? Quantum entanglement manipulation, the alien scientist answered. The device creates a quantum link between a star's core and an artificial singularity. Once linked, we can accelerate entropy in one system, which is mirrored in the other. That's... Novak trailed off, her expression a mixture of horror and scientific fascination. Playing God, Chen finished for her. And you're certain this will work? It has already been tested on an uninhabited system, Zinvex confirmed. The star was a red dwarf, much smaller than your sun. It collapsed into a white dwarf in less than an Earth day, a process that should have taken billions of years. The implications were staggering. Earth's colonies were scattered across a dozen star systems, each one now potentially vulnerable to this weapon. But Wolf 359 would be first, a colony of 3 million humans, chosen as a demonstration. We need to warn Earth, Takeda insisted. Chen shook her head. Communications would be intercepted. The Coalition monitors all subspace frequencies near human systems. Then we go there ourselves, Rivera suggested. By the time we reach Earth and convince them of the threat, it would be too late for Wolf 359. Chen countered. No, we need to strike directly at the source. She turned to Zinvex. Can you help us locate this research station? The Iridian's skin shifted to a darker blue, a sign of determination in his species. I can do better than that. I can help you destroy Project Helios. For the next 3 days, the Defiance operated under strict emissions control, using its Phantom protocol to appear as a small comet while the crew worked with Zinvex to develop a plan. The Coalition defector provided detailed schematics of the Hephaestus research station and the Project Helios device itself. The station is heavily defended, Zinvex explained as the senior officers studied the holographic display. 20 ships minimum, plus automated defense platforms. The station itself has shields designed to withstand a supernova. They were testing in proximity to the weapon, after all. So a direct assault is impossible, Chen concluded. For a conventional military force, yes, the alien scientist agreed, but not for a ship with your unique capabilities. Chen raised an eyebrow. Explain. The station requires regular supply shipments. If the Defiance could mimic the signature of a Coalition supply vessel using your Phantom protocol, you could approach without raising alarms. They'd still scan us before allowing docking, Rivera pointed out. Yes, but I know the authentication codes, Zinvex replied. With those and the correct ship signature, you could get close enough to deploy a strike team. It was an audacious plan, but Chen couldn't see a better alternative. The lives of 3 million colonists, and potentially billions more, hung in the balance. How long until the next scheduled supply run? She asked. 3 days, Zinvex answered. The vessel Krexnar is due to deliver specialized equipment for the final phase of testing. Chen made her decision. Commander Takeda, prepare a detailed operation plan. Commander Rivera, I want our weapons and defensive systems at 100%. Dr. Novak, work with Zinvex to ensure our Phantom protocol can perfectly mimic the Krexnar. As her officers dispersed to their tasks, Chen remained in the briefing room, studying the holographic image of the research station. The mission would be the Defiance's most dangerous yet, but the stakes couldn't be higher. You're planning to destroy it, Zinvex observed, remaining behind. Not steal it. Chen looked up at the alien scientist. Would you expect anything else? No, he admitted, but some in your position might see the strategic advantage in possessing such technology. That kind of power shouldn't exist, Chen said firmly. For anyone. The Iridian's skin rippled with blue patterns, a sign of approval. Then perhaps there is hope for this galaxy after all. Their planning was interrupted by an urgent call from the bridge. Captain, we're detecting unusual sensor activity throughout the sector. Lieutenant Okafor reported. The Coalition is deploying some kind of interconnected sensor grid. Chen exchanged a concerned glance with Zinvex. Is it possible they've developed a way to detect us through the Phantom protocol? The alien scientist hesitated. There was theoretical research on detecting quantum fluctuations associated with your technology, but it required computing power beyond anything the Coalition could practically deploy. Apparently theory has become reality, Chen replied grimly. How long until the sensor grid is fully operational? Based on current deployment patterns, approximately 36 hours, Okafor estimated. Chen's mind raced. Their mission to infiltrate the research station wasn't scheduled for 3 days, but waiting that long might mean losing their advantage of stealth. On the other hand, moving early carried its own risks. Change of plans, she decided. We move immediately. If we wait for the scheduled supply run, we may lose our window of opportunity entirely. Captain, Zinvex objected, the station will be suspicious of an early arrival. Then we'll need to be convincing, Chen replied. Prepare a distress signal from the Krexnar. Tell them they've detected instability in their cargo and need to make an emergency delivery. The Defiance sprang into action, its crew working around the clock to prepare for the infiltration. The Phantom Protocol was recalibrated to mimic the Krexnar precisely, while a strike team rehearsed their insertion into the research station. 20 hours later, the Defiance approached the Hephaestus Nebula, its external appearance now identical to a Coalition supply ship. The swirling gases of the nebula provided additional cover, though Chen worried it wouldn't be enough if the new sensor grid was already operational in this sector. Approaching outer security perimeter, Rivera reported from Tactical. Defense platforms are active, but not targeting us. Transmit the distress signal, Chen ordered. Moments later, a response came from the research station. Supply vessel Krexnar, we're reading your emergency. Proceed to docking bay 3. Security teams will meet you. Acknowledged, research station. Chen replied through the translator, which converted her words to the appropriate Coalition language, requesting minimal personnel due to potential hazard with our cargo. There was a pause before the station responded. Request denied. Standard security protocols will be observed. Chen exchanged glances with her officers. This complicated matters, but they had prepared for this contingency. Understood, research station. Proceeding to docking bay 3. As the Defiance approached the massive space station, its true nature remained hidden beneath the perfect mimicry of the Phantom Protocol. But Chen couldn't shake the feeling that they were flying into the heart of danger, and that Admiral Voxlar might be closer than they thought. Captain, Rivera said quietly, I'm detecting a Coalition battlecruiser on the far side of the station. It's the Dominance. Chen's blood ran cold. The Dominance was Admiral Voxlar's new flagship. Their mission had just become exponentially more dangerous. Maintain course, she ordered, her voice steady despite the sudden tension. We proceed as planned. The Defiance continued its approach, now disguised as a simple supply ship, but carrying within it humanity's last hope against an unthinkable weapon. As they prepared to dock with the station, Chen knew they were about to cross a point of no return. Either they would succeed in destroying Project Helios, or humanity would face extinction. The light of humanity. The docking procedure proceeded with agonizing slowness. Every moment the Defiance spent attached to the research station increased their risk of discovery. Captain Chen stood in the cargo bay with the assault team. 12 of her best security personnel equipped with specialized breaching gear and weapons designed to minimize structural damage. Remember, she addressed the team quietly, our primary objective is the Project Helios device. Secondary objectives are the research data and prototype components. This is not an extermination mission. Avoid casualties when possible, but don't hesitate if fired upon. The team nodded, their expressions grim beneath tactical helmets. They understood the stakes. Commander Rivera will coordinate from the Defiance, Chen continued. Commander Takeda, you'll lead Alpha Team with me. Lieutenant Okafor, you have Beta Team. Dr. Novak and Zinvex will guide us once we reach the central laboratory. A soft chime indicated the docking was complete. Chen activated her comm. Bridge status. Phantom protocol holding. Rivera's voice came through clearly. Station security approaching the airlock. 12 guards, standard armament. Chen made a final decision. Change of plans. We can't risk a direct confrontation at the airlock. It would alert the entire station. Initiate Protocol Omega. Protocol Omega was their most desperate contingency, a controlled overload of the Defiance's power systems that would create a localized EMP, temporarily disabling systems in the immediate vicinity without damaging the ship. It would buy them precious minutes of confusion. Initiating Protocol Omega, Rivera confirmed. EMP in 3, 2, 1. A soft pulse rippled through the ship, followed by the dimming of lights. Emergency systems kicked in immediately aboard the Defiance, but the station's docking systems would be temporarily disabled. Move out, Chen ordered. The assault team bypassed the main airlock, using an emergency maintenance hatch instead. They emerged into a darkened corridor, just as red emergency lighting began to illuminate the station. Alarms hadn't yet sounded. The station crew likely believed the power fluctuation was related to their damaged cargo. "Which way?" Chen asked Zinvex, who consulted a holographic map. "Central Laboratory is 3 levels down, Section 47A. The Iridian replied. "We should hurry. Backup systems will restore full functionality within minutes." The team moved swiftly through the corridors, encountering minimal resistance. Most station personnel were confused by the power disruption, and the security teams were focused on the docking bay where they expected the supply ship's crew to emerge. They reached the central laboratory access corridor without incident, but found the main entrance sealed and guarded by 4 security drones, automated weapons platforms that had remained functional despite the EMP. "Drones are isolated systems," Zinvex explained quietly. "Self-contained power and processing." Chen signaled to her demolition specialist. "Can you take them out silently?" The specialist shook his head. "Not all at once. They'll have time to alert security." Chen considered their options. Speed was now more important than stealth. The station would soon realize something was wrong at the docking bay. "Lieutenant Okafor, take Beta Team and create a diversion in Section 45C, she ordered. "Make it look like an accident, not an attack. The rest of us will breach the laboratory once security responds." Okafor nodded and led her team away. 3 minutes later, an explosion rocked the station, followed by emergency klaxons. The security drones immediately responded, 2 remaining at their post while the others moved toward the disturbance. "Now," Chen ordered. The demolition specialist deployed a focused EMP device that disabled the remaining drones, while another team member bypassed the laboratory's electronic lock. The doors slid open, revealing a vast chamber dominated by a massive device at its center. A spherical apparatus 20 meters in diameter, suspended in a containment field. Scientists scattered as the assault team entered, most diving for cover or fleeing through secondary exits. "That's it," Zinvex confirmed, pointing at the sphere. "The Project Helios prototype." Dr. Novak immediately moved to a control console, connecting a data extraction device. "Downloading research files now," she reported. 60 seconds to completion. Chen approached the central apparatus, studying it with a mixture of awe and revulsion. This beautiful, terrible machine had the power to extinguish billions of lives. "How do we destroy it?" she asked Zinvex. "The quantum core is stable only within the containment field," the alien scientist explained. "Disrupt the field, and the core will collapse catastrophically." "Will that destroy the station?" Zinvex hesitated. "No, but it will render the technology useless and destroy all physical evidence of how it functions." Chen nodded. "Set the charges." As her team prepared demolition devices, a new alarm sounded, different from the general emergency alert. "Captain," Rivera's voice came urgently through her communicator. "Coalition forces are converging on the station. The Dominance has launched fighters. Our cover is blown." Chen's expression hardened. "How long until they reach us?" 12 minutes, maybe less. They're jamming communications. This channel won't last." "Understood. Maintain position as long as possible. If we're not back in 10 minutes, execute emergency protocol and withdraw." "Captain," Rivera began to protest. "That's an order, Commander. The Defiance must survive to warn Earth." The communication cut out as the jamming intensified. Chen turned to her team. "We have 10 minutes to complete the mission and extract." Dr. Novak, status. "Download complete," Novak reported, disconnecting her device. "We have everything. Research data, test results, theoretical models. Charges set," the demolition specialist called out. "Remote detonation ready." "Good. Now we." The laboratory doors slid open, interrupting Chen. A squad of coalition security forces stormed in, led by a tall Drentheri in an admiral's uniform. "Voxlar." "Captain Chen," the admiral said, his translator giving his voice an artificial calm. "Finally, we meet face to face." Coalition soldiers surrounded the human assault team, weapons raised. They outnumbered Chen's forces 2-1. "Admiral Voxlar," Chen replied, buying time as she assessed their options. The charges were set. All they needed was to trigger the detonator and escape in the ensuing chaos. "I see your reputation for obsession is well earned." The Admiral's gray skin flushed purple with anger. 3 years I'd hunted you. 3 years of humiliation as your ghost ship made fools of the Coalition's finest. That ends today. "It ends today," Chen agreed, "but not the way you think." She glanced at Zinvex, who was slowly positioning himself near a secondary control panel. Voxlar noticed the exchange and turned his attention to the Iridian scientist. "Ah, the traitor. You disappoint your entire species, Zinvex." "I prevented genocide," the scientist replied calmly. "History will judge who the true traitor is." Voxlar laughed, a harsh, grating sound. "History is written by the victors, and today that will not be humanity." He gestured to the Helios device. "With this, we will finally end the human threat once and for all, by slaughtering billions of innocents." Chen challenged, "Is that the legacy you want for the Coalition?" "It is regrettable but necessary," Voxlar replied, his 4 eyes blinking in sequence, a sign of determination in his species. "Humanity has proven itself too dangerous to coexist with civilized species. Your Phantom Protocol alone demonstrates how you cannot be trusted with advanced technology." Chen saw her opportunity. "You mean this technology?" She activated her communicator, sending a prearranged signal to the Defiance. Immediately, alarms blared throughout the station. "What have you done?" Voxlar demanded. "Shown you what humanity is truly capable of," Chen replied as chaos erupted. Outside the station, the Defiance had dropped its disguise. The Phantom Protocol activated at full power, creating the illusion of not one ship, but a dozen, each one appearing to be an Earth Alliance heavy cruiser. The sudden appearance of what seemed to be a human battle fleet threw the Coalition forces into confusion. Inside the laboratory, Chen used the distraction to signal her team. In perfect coordination, they activated personal shield generators, another piece of technology Earth had developed in secret. The shield bubbles expanded rapidly, knocking back the surrounding Coalition soldiers. "The detonator," Chen shouted. The demolition specialist triggered the charges. Instead of an explosion, the containment field around the Helios device began to fluctuate wildly. The sphere at its center pulsed with energy, patterns of light racing across its surface. "What's happening?" Voxlar demanded, regaining his footing. "The containment field is collapsing," Zinvex explained, a note of satisfaction in his voice. "The quantum core will follow." "You fool," the Admiral roared. "You'll kill us all." "No," Chen corrected him. "We've calibrated the collapse. The core will dissolve, not explode. Project Helios will be rendered useless, but the station will survive." Even as she spoke, the sphere began to shimmer and fade, its substance seeming to dissolve into particles of light that dissipated into the air. Years of research and development, gone in moments. Voxlar howled with rage, drawing his sidearm and firing at Chen. The captain ducked, the energy blast scorching the wall behind her. In the ensuing firefight, her team formed a defensive perimeter, working their way toward the laboratory's secondary exit. Voxlar howled with rage, drawing his sidearm and firing at Chen. The captain ducked, the energy blast scorching the wall behind her. In the ensuing firefight, her team formed a defensive perimeter, working their way toward the laboratory's secondary exit. "Fall back to extraction point Beta," Chen ordered, returning fire to cover their retreat. "Takeda, secure our path." Commander Takeda led the way, clearing the corridor as the team withdrew. Dr. Novik clutched the data device containing the stolen research, its value now incalculable, the only remaining evidence of how Project Helios functioned. "Captain, we need to go," Zinvex urged, helping a wounded human soldier. Chen knew he was right, but she couldn't leave without ensuring the project was truly destroyed. As her team retreated, she watched the Helios device continue its elegant dissolution, the quantum core now barely visible as it faded from existence. Voxlar, seeing his life's work disappearing before his eyes, abandoned all reason. Locked down the station. He roared into his communicator. No one escapes. Deploy all forces to capture the humans. Chen used his distraction to slip away, following her team through the secondary exit. The station corridors were in chaos, with emergency systems blaring and personnel running in all directions. The false alarm triggered by the Defiance's Phantom fleet had created the perfect cover for their escape. Rivera, status. Chen called into her communicator as they fought their way toward the extraction point. Coalition forces in disarray, Rivera reported. Our Phantom images are holding, but not for long. Their sensors are adapting. We need to leave within 5 minutes. Understood. We're approaching secondary docking port now. The team rounded a corner to find their path blocked by a security checkpoint. Coalition soldiers had established a defensive position, clearly anticipating their escape route. Alternative. Chen asked Zinvex. The Iridian consulted his mental map of the station. Maintenance shaft, 2 corridors back. It leads to the emergency pod bay. Pods won't get us to the Defiance, Takeda pointed out. They don't need to, Chen replied. Understanding forming. Rivera can track the pods and pick us up once we're clear of the station. They backtracked to the maintenance access point, fighting through sporadic resistance. One by one, they squeezed into the narrow shaft, crawling through the station's infrastructure toward the emergency evacuation area. Coalition battlecruiser is moving to engage, Rivera updated them. Phantom images are failing against their calibrated sensors. 3 minutes until we must break off. Chen pushed her team harder, ignoring the burning in her lungs as they emerged into the pod bay. The emergency evacuation pods, small, self-contained vessels designed to carry survivors away from the station in case of catastrophic failure, stood ready in their launch tubes. 2 per pod, Chen ordered. Minimum safe distance before transmitting location to the Defiance. As they boarded the pods, a final transmission came through from Rivera. Captain, we've intercepted coalition communications. Voxlar has ordered the Dominants to fire on any pods leaving the station. Chen's blood ran cold. The Admiral was willing to kill his own people to prevent their escape. Understood. Launch immediately. Maximum scatter pattern. The pods ejected from the station, each taking a different trajectory. Through the small viewport, Chen watched as the Dominance's weapon systems targeted the fleeing vessels. Some pods were hit immediately, exploding in silent bursts of light and debris. They're shooting their own people, Dr. Novak whispered in horror from the seat beside her. Voxlar has lost all perspective, Chen replied grimly. This is no longer about strategy. It's about his pride. Their pod shuddered as a near miss from the Dominance's weapons superheated the metal hull. Warning lights flashed across the control panel. We're losing pressure, Chen reported, sealing her helmet. Oxygen reserves at 60% and falling. Through the viewport, she could see other pods suffering similar fates. The Dominance was methodically targeting each one, determined that no one would escape with knowledge of what had transpired. Just as their situation seemed hopeless, the space around them filled with light. The Defiance had dropped its Phantom images and revealed its true position, directly between the escaping pods and the Dominants. What are they doing? Novak gasped. Drawing fire, Chen realized, giving us a chance to escape. The Defiance, though advanced, was no match for the Dominants in direct combat. Its strength lay in stealth and surprise, not head-to-head engagement with a battlecruiser. Yet there it was, shields flaring as it absorbed punishment meant for the pods. Rivera, break off, Chen ordered into her communicator. That's a direct order. Negative, Captain, Rivera's calm voice replied through static. We can hold them long enough for your pods to reach minimum safe distance. The mission comes first. Chen watched helplessly as her ship, her home for the past 3 years, battled against impossible odds. The Defiance's weapons fired in precise patterns, targeting the Dominance's key systems rather than trying to destroy it outright. Buying time, not seeking victory. They're sacrificing themselves. Zinvex observed from a neighboring pod, his voice coming through the shared communication channel. Not if I can help it, Chen replied. She examined their pod systems, looking for anything that might help. An idea formed, desperate, possibly suicidal. But their only chance. All pods with functioning propulsion. She broadcast on the emergency frequency. Form up on my position. We're going to create a distraction. 7 pods, including their own, altered course to rendezvous. Once they were close enough, Chen explained her plan. Each pod would vent its remaining oxygen in a controlled burst, creating a cloud of frozen particles. At the same time, they would eject their emergency beacons on opposite trajectories. The oxygen cloud will temporarily blind their sensors, she explained. The beacons will create multiple false targets. In the confusion, the Defiance can slip away using the Phantom Protocol. It wasn't much of a plan, but it was all they had. Chen coordinated the timing, and on her mark, the pods executed the maneuver. The vented oxygen created a brief, brilliant cloud as it crystallized in the vacuum of space. The emergency beacons shot off in all directions, each one emitting the signature of a full escape pod. The Dominance's weapons systems tracked the beacons, firing at the false targets. In that moment of confusion, the Defiance activated its Phantom Protocol one final time, its outline blurring as it seemingly vanished among the stars. It worked. Novik breathed as they watched the Dominance waste its firepower on empty space. Now we wait, Chen replied, checking their dwindling oxygen supply. They had perhaps 30 minutes left, barely enough time for the Defiance to circle back and retrieve them if Rivera had understood their plan. The minutes ticked by with excruciating slowness. The Dominance continued its methodical destruction of the decoy beacons, still unaware that its actual targets were drifting silently, systems powered down to minimal life support. Oxygen at 15%, the pod's computer announced dispassionately. Chen closed her eyes, calculating their chances. The Defiance would need at least 20 minutes to circle around the Dominance's sensor range and approach from the blind side. They might not make it. Captain, Zinvex's voice came through the communicator. I want you to know that whatever happens, it has been an honor to serve with humans. Your species has shown courage and principle that many in the Coalition believed you lacked. Save your oxygen, Zinvex, Chen replied, though she appreciated the sentiment. We're not done yet. As if summoned by her determination, a shadow fell across their viewport. The Defiance had appeared silently beside them, its docking bay open and ready to receive the surviving pods. Sorry for the delay, Captain, Rivera's voice came through clearly now. Had to take the scenic route. Relief flooded through Chen as their pod was drawn into the ship's embrace. Once aboard, she wasted no time in getting to the bridge, issuing orders even as medical teams attended to the wounded. Status of the Dominance, she demanded as she took her place in the command chair. Still searching the debris field, Rivera reported with a small smile. They haven't detected us yet. Set course for Earth, maximum speed, Chen ordered. We need to deliver this intelligence immediately. As the Defiance slipped away, leaving the Coalition forces still searching for ghosts, Chen allowed herself a moment of reflection. They had accomplished their mission. Project Helios was destroyed, its research secured. But more importantly, they had exposed the truth about the Coalition's intentions. What will happen now? Zinvex asked as he joined her on the bridge, having been cleared by medical. Now, Chen replied, we changed the course of this war. She gestured to the data device containing the Project Helios research. This proves the Coalition was never negotiating in good faith. When Earth's government sees this, they'll mobilize every ship, every resource we have. You're still outnumbered, the Iridian pointed out. In conventional ships, yes, Chen agreed. But the Phantom Protocol can be adapted to other vessels. The Coalition's advantage was always in numbers. Ours will be that they never know what they're actually facing. Zinvex considered this, a ghost fleet, not just as a rumor this time, but reality. Exactly, Chen confirmed. And with the coalition leadership in disarray after the loss of Project Helios, we have a window of opportunity. The Defiance accelerated to faster than light speed, carrying its precious cargo of truth toward Earth. Behind them, Admiral Voxlar's obsession had led not to the destruction of humanity, but to the exposure of the Coalition's darkest secrets. 3 weeks later, Captain Chen stood on the observation deck of Earth's orbital defense station, watching as a new fleet assembled. 20 ships, each equipped with the Phantom Protocol technology derived from the Defiance's systems. They weren't the largest or most powerful vessels, but they would be the most feared, able to appear as anything from a massive battleship to empty space. The Ghost Fleet, Admiral Harrison remarked, joining her at the viewport. Named in honor of your ship, Captain. Chen nodded, still not used to the Admiral's insignia now adorning her own uniform. The promotion had come along with the Medal of Valor and command of the newly formed Special Operations Division. The Coalition call us ghosts, she replied. Now they'll learn what it truly means to be haunted. Across the vast expanse of space, reports were already spreading of Coalition outposts mysteriously destroyed, supply ships vanishing without trace, and defensive installations found abandoned, their personnel evacuated after encountering multiple human battle fleets that appeared from nowhere. No one knew how many ships Earth truly had, or where they might appear next. The uncertainty paralyzed Coalition leadership, fracturing their alliance as member species began to question whether the war against humanity was worth the cost. In the heart of Coalition space, Admiral Voxlar's career had ended in disgrace. The loss of Project Helios, combined with his reckless endangerment of Coalition personnel during the station incident, had led to his removal from command. His obsession with the human ghost ship had ultimately been his undoing. As the new fleet prepared for departure, Admiral Chen's communicator chimed. A message from intelligence. Another Coalition world was suing for peace, breaking from the Alliance to negotiate separately with Earth. It's working, she told Harrison. The Coalition is falling apart from within. Thanks to you and the Defiance, Harrison replied. One ship changed the course of this war. Chen thought about her crew, about the sacrifices they had made, and about the audacity of their mission. A single vessel had accomplished what an entire fleet could not. It had returned hope to humanity. Not just one ship, she corrected. One idea. That even against overwhelming odds, we could stand our ground. That we wouldn't allow bullies with superior technology to determine our fate. As the first vessels of Earth's Ghost Fleet disappeared into the depths of space, Chen knew the war was far from over. There would be more battles, more sacrifices. But the balance had shifted. The hunters had become the hunted, and the human warship that superpowers feared had become the template for humanity's salvation. The legend of the Defiance would live on, inspiring future generations to remember that sometimes the greatest weapon isn't firepower or numbers, but the courage to stand against impossible odds, and the ingenuity to make the impossible possible. In the vastness of space, a new chapter in human history had begun, and somewhere among the stars, Admiral Voxlar still woke in the night, haunted by visions of a ship that could be everywhere and nowhere at once, the ghost that had destroyed his ambitions and changed the galaxy forever.